The Luke Branquinho Show is brought to you by Lane Frost. Lane Frost, your legend starts now.
At the end of the day, people have no idea how dangerous bull riding is.
Right, yeah.
Won the second one, 89, by far and away the most challenging, difficult, time in my life. But you never expect the best guy, one of the best guys at what he does, to die doing it. Right. You don't expect Lane Frost to die shining.
Rodeo time. Welcome to the Luke Branquinho Show. My next guest is somebody that I actually got to meet in the Gold Coast the first year I made the national finals. But this guy is a three-time world champion, PRCA World Champion bull rider, and a PBR World Champion bull rider. Tuff Hedeman, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you remember, but Gold Coast, I walked in, I think it was the first year I made the national finals in 2001, and I walked up to the blackjack table, and you were sitting there with another guy that was somebody in the industry I really respected and looked up to, Charlie Horkey. And you guys are sitting there playing. I think actually Tandy Freeman was there too. So three guys in the industry that before I even started rodeo, I'm like, man, this is right where I need to be. But I remember it like it was yesterday, and I feel like from that point on, we have continued a pretty awesome friendship.
Yeah, it's funny how you remember that moment of the first day of the first time you get to your first NFR, and for me it was in Oklahoma City, and it's kind of that moment when you realize that for the longest time, no matter what you told everybody or yourself that you were good enough to be there, you really wasn't sure that you were good enough to be there. But once you're there, it's a cool feeling. But I remember walking in the room, and Leo Camarillo, who was just a different kind of guy.
Well, Leo, it seemed like was one of those guys that if he would give it to you, if you didn't give it back, he'd give it to you even more. But you started giving a little bit back to him, he started respecting you a little bit. Yeah,
the first time he just talked smack to me. I caught a ride from a hotel in Albuquerque. I drove all night from Pendleton and caught a ride with him and Jake Barnes to the slack because the horse races were going on, and my dad worked at the track, and he like, you work out here or something? I said, no. He said, what do you do? He said, so I rodeo a little bit. He said, were you any good? And I said, yeah, I'm okay. Anyway, at that time, it was the first year I made the NFR was that year, but I was like fourth in the standings that year. And he said, oh, you're a bull rider? He said, it's a little too nice a hotel for a bull rider, isn't it? And just he couldn't have been a bigger jerk. He just could not have been. And I just played the quiet game because it's Leo Camarillo. But
right.
The next time I seen him, I gave it back to him. We got to be good buddies.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about the first time making the national finals. You kind of mentioned it, but just that experience going in and being able to get on 10 of the very best bulls in the world.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, it's what you dream about growing up. Looking back, everybody wants to win Rookie of the Year. And in '83, I tried to fill my permit, at the end of '82, but back then it's hard to get in the rodeos as a bull rider because they didn't take very many permits. And anyway, I never got my card until actually I filled it in the bronc riding in El Paso, my hometown. I won like $1,742 in the bronc riding. And I went in and got my card, but by then I'd missed all the big winter rodeos, and so I didn't have much of a chance. I didn't even get in Cheyenne that year because it had a qualification as well, and it was, if you hadn't won any, I didn't have a whole lot won. So I missed the rookie chase, and now Lane, he ended up 16th, and I ran into him at Kansas City, which started for '84, and that's kind of when we kind of started visiting a little bit. I was still in college, but later on that spring we went to start going to a lot of rodeos together.
Started entering up, you and Lane, and Cody had was he entering with you guys at that point too, or was he doing the entering?
Yeah. The first year he was with us and did a lot of the entering, and he didn't wind up making the NFR that year, so it was just Lane and I. And so the thing about Lane was that, when I first met him at the high school finals in Yakima, we both made a short go, and he ended up winning third. I always told him he made one of the worst rides I've ever seen. Hung off the side for about 5 seconds, but I got smoked by a big Brindle. I had big Coke bottle glasses. Got hung up. He had popped the glasses, the lens out of my glasses. I've got a picture of it, and so I got black eye, and so I sucked. So then we make it the next year to Douglas, and he wins it, and I win second. And we go to the HRA rodeos. I'm in the lead all year, and he beats me at the end. And so I've never beat this guy ever. So we get to the NFR in '84, and I go in. I think I'm probably fourth. I think maybe going in. I ride like 7 out of 10, but I don't win hardly anything in the rounds. I place in the average, but he rides 5 and ends up beating me again. And I'm like, in '85, I'm like, we're driving from San Antonio to El Paso, and it just dawned on me. We're like 2:00 in the morning, filling up with gas, and like just start thinking, I've never beat this son, like ever, never. And we're in the convenience store. I just started throwing like chips and donuts, just stuff off the counter at him. I said, I don't care if I win next to last this year. As long as you win last, I will kick your ass this year. So we had a pretty friendly rivalry, and he's like, I'm sorry, you're not as good as me. I'm sorry.
Oh.
He was apologizing for being better.
Apologizing for being better. That's something that's crazy. And obviously the friendship you guys had, just for namesake of your children, for that matter, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at a guy that, he was a star in high school, and he was a guy that everybody wanted to be. He was a little pretty boy and could make the whistle every time and win. And, he was so nice. You'd like think to yourself, he can't be that nice,
Like you said, apologizing for beating you.
Yeah. And I tried not to like him because he was who I wanted to be. I wanted to win. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be this and that. He was everything everybody wanted to be. But he was so gracious and kind to everybody that, you had to like him even if you didn't want to. Yeah.
Well, everybody watches the movie 8 Seconds, and I know Cody had said you guys had a part in how it was really done. And at one point he said you kind of came across, or you came to the producer and director like, we're not doing this because this is not how it was. And like you were very vocal about trying to get the true Lane Frost story out there.
Luke did a hell of a job, and when you left the movie, you had a good idea who Lane Frost was and what he was about.
All right, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Tuff.
Hey, I'm Matt Merritt, and whether I'm hanging out at home or when I'm in the woods, or even when I'm in the arena, I always choose to be legendary. Do you?
The Luke Branquinho Show is brought to you by Lane Frost. Lane Frost brand is completely family owned and operated. Every single product is designed and shipped from their hometown, Atoka, Oklahoma. The Frost family thanks customers for supporting their family. They hope you're inspired by Lane's legacy and the champion mindset. Fans of the Luke Branquinho Show can use promo code LUKE20 for 20% off any of their quality products at lanefrost.com.
Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. World champion bull rider Tuff Hedeman. Tuff talking about work and the difference between getting a real job and rodeoing, because I'm experiencing that now. When, like you said, when you retire from rodeo, it just gives you the privilege, the opportunity to go get a real job. And, fortunately, the success I've had in my career, it's not an 8 to 5, but there's guys out there that when they retire from rodeo, it is an 8 to 5. And I think same as you growing up on a ranch, it was you started working at a young age. And I don't know that a lot of kids experience that nowadays.
No, well, my 10-year-old experienced it yesterday. And I told him he had to work at least 2 hours, and I had a guy down clearing out some brush. He calls me and he says, what time's my shift over? He'd been there like an hour and 10 minutes, and he came walking up there, and he's like panting, it's hot, and that. You'd have thought, I expected, Child Protective Services to show up for me abusing my 10-year-old, because I told him, hey, dude, you got to work. That's life. That's what you have to do.
Well, obviously that work in the arena paid off with your world championships. Walk us through that from the time you won your first one to the last one, which was the PBR World Championship. I mean, I know for me, it's almost like you're on a high of all highs, and you don't ever want to come down off it.
Every one of them is different. My first championship was in '86. Was just a relief, because in '85 I blew the biggest lead ever, maybe the biggest choke job ever in the history of anything, because I was in the lead all year. I got to Vegas in '85. I rode my first 5. If it had been over that day, I'd have won the world by 40,000.
Well, if it would have been last year, you would have won the world if you rode your first 5 going into the lead. I mean, let's be honest.
So I got bucked off of 3 of my next 5, so I ended up riding 7 out of 10, fall off the last day, and Ted Newsom beats me. And like I said, my excuse was I choked like nobody has ever choked before. I came back, in '86, had a bigger lead than I had in '85. Get bucked off my first 2, and everybody's giving me that look like, oh, he's yakking it up again, Mr. Choke. And so I rode 8 in a row, placed on 6. And so the first one was just a relief. And, every year after that, when it was rodeo, it was me and Jim and Lane, Clint. The cool thing about it, from '86 to '91, one of us won it.
Right.
So, I won it in '86, Lane won it in '87, Jim won it in '88, I won it in '89, Jim won it in '90, and I won it in '91. So it was the only hiccup in there, unfortunately, was losing Lane in '89. But,
right.
When I won the second one, '89, that was just, the by far and away the most challenging, difficult. You kind of have to bullshit yourself to a certain degree. Say, it's not that bad. It's not that big a deal. All I can do is do what I'm supposed to do, make good ride, and get off, and I'm fine. And but you never expect the best guy, one of the best guys at what he does, to die doing it. Right. You don't expect Lane Frost to die at Cheyenne. You don't expect Dale Earnhardt to die at Daytona.
Right.
They just shouldn't. Just not going to happen. I mean,
right.
Even today, people say, "Well, do your boys ride?" And I say, "Well, they don't, and I hope they don't." And they're like, "Well, why?" I'm like, the only question to them is, how many people have you seen die at your job while you were at work? And so, for me, that's at least 4 guys that are buddies, friends, acquaintances, and one of my best friends that die 20 feet in front of you. Lane, Brent Thurman, Glenn Keeley. All I can say is it's not for very many people, but for me, I wouldn't trade it for anything. If one of my boys, that's what they wanted to do, that's their choice. I would be like my parents. I would support them and help them any way I could. But bull riding is, nobody can help you but you.
Yeah.
I always laugh when people are always trying to hold on to you in the chute and spot you, and I'm like, I can ride by myself in the chute with nobody holding on to me. Okay, leave me alone. I need help like the second or third jump. Give me a spot then, fine. But why is in the chute? Keep your hands to yourself. I can ride him by myself in here. I don't care what he does. I can ride him.
I got this one. Was there right after Lane passed at Cheyenne, was there a time, right after where you're like, why am I doing this? Or I guess doubting that, hey, I could be next, or thinking, hey, I could be next.
I could be next. It's just such a overwhelming feeling of you don't really know what to think or do.
Yeah.
And it's just such a painful thing that, you hope you wake up and it didn't happen.
All right, well, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll have more with Tuff Hedeman. Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. World champion Tuff Hedeman joining us. Hey, Tuff, we talked about the World Championships. What do you got going now? I know you got a lot of things, a lot of irons in the fire, and staying busy.
Well, more than anything, I've got a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. So
that keeps
my
plenty busy.
10-year-old started 4th grade. He starts tomorrow. My 4-year-old started pre-K yesterday, but I still produce a handful of bull riding events. I represent Panhandle Slim, Rock and Roll, Resist All Hats, and for me, it's still the same goal as I had when I was probably 18. I'm still trying to not get a real job, so putting on bull ridings, wearing cowboy clothes. I remember when I threw out a first pitch at the Cubs game one time at Wrigley. Me and Wade Bowen, a Texas artist buddy of mine, gets a game, and I'm dressed just like I am now. I don't have all the logos, but he's got his ball cap and his jersey on. He said, "Where's your baseball clothes?" I said, "I'm not a baseball player. I'm a cowboy. They pay me to wear this. So
Right.
This is what I wear every day, no matter what." So I throw the pitch out. They said, "Whatever you do, don't bounce it." I thrown it out at a Royals game one time, and so I just don't bounce. So I go first, hit the glove, and I'm thinking to myself, "Man, I nailed it." Never said anything to anybody. Wade, he had played ball. He gets up, he does a big wind up. I don't know how to wind up, but he does this wind up, and he throws, and he's about 3 foot off the plate. I'm like, he sucked. I did good. I'm telling myself this the whole time. I'm just standing there minding my own business, and I overhear a conversation right behind me. It's the pitching coach. He said, "You could tell that senior guy, he played a little ball." He said, "The cowboy throws like a girl." And I'm like, I've never in my life wished I hadn't heard something, because if I wouldn't never heard that, I would have thought I did really good.
I'm sure that coach was just ribbing you a little bit. He was probably pretty.
No, he wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to another guy.
Oh.
I just overheard him.
Oh, that makes it even worse then, I guess. Yeah, you're right. You just said you
Yeah.
shouldn't. You wish you wouldn't have heard it. But,
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're dang sure staying busy with the events and repping the cowboy brand. And that's one thing I love about, I guess, my career. I'm able to still do with TV work, be involved. You're still involved, but you're not getting the bumps and the bruises. You're actually getting paid guaranteed money, which is nice, and giving back to the sport. And you're right. We don't have the real 8 to 5, but we're still in that rodeo kind of mentality, loving what we're doing.
If you get paid to wear cowboy hats and jeans and shirts and boots, it's a pretty good gig. Yeah, my work is going to be my 4-year-old. I think it's. Oh my gosh.
Well, all right. Well, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with Tuff. Welcome back to the Luke Branquinho Show. We're going to do some rapid fire wrap up questions here with Tuff. All right, Tuff. Favorite NFR event? Other than the bull riding.
I like to watch the team roping because I've always roped, but I like to watch the bronc riding when they buck the eliminators.
Yeah, that's
I
always
like to see
fun.
I like to see the bronc riders get drilled every now and then because they never do.
All right. Favorite NFR moment for you?
Winning my first world championship.
Favorite rodeo tradition?
For me, I didn't care what the rodeo was. We're just getting there, making the whistle, and winning.
Yeah. Favorite Lane Frost moment?
Just being his friend.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, your favorite moment as a kid? Something you remember?
The first calf I got on when I was 4 years old, and all the other calves kind of jumped and turned, but mine ran straight, and I rode him the length of the arena and got off. And as soon as they let him go, I was screaming and crying for my mom. And I rode him all the way to the end of the arena. And when I came back, I thought that was the absolute coolest thing ever. It was another 10 years before I made the whistle, but that was the start of it.
Oh, favorite sport other than rodeo?
I love golf. I suck, but I like to play.
That's great. Well, Tuff, I can't thank you enough for your time coming on the show with us, sharing your stories, and man, hopefully we'll get back on the show again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Y'all have a great day.
All right, appreciate it, and thank you all for watching the Luke Branquinho Show.